with proper strategy and proper analysis of whatever you do, I'm sure that anyone can crack that. Sir, I was really an average student. My English skills were so poor. I just could just can talk in English. My aptitude was nothing.
Well, the CAT 2021 results were in a few days ago, and with results come toppers. Well, everyone, welcome to another episode of Chamomile Tea with Toppers, an initiative by Unacademy, and I'm your host, Rishabh. Today, I have with me Mr. Vinayak Prabhu, who has scored an outstanding percentile of 99.82 in the CAT 2021 examination. He's here to share with us his preparation strategy. So let's speak to him. Hey, Vinayak, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Hi, sir. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. First of all, heartiest congratulations to you on this phenomenal achievement of yours. Tell us, how does it feel to have scored this amazing percentile?
Sir, I'm so excited and I feel great. I actually began my CAT journey by watching all the toppers speaking about strategy and all. So now I feel great to be sitting in their chair and speaking to the CAT aspirants who are going to give the next CAT. So I feel great.
That's great to hear that. That's the whole reason we do this show for you guys in the first place, so that you can watch and get inspired. So that's great, Vinayak. So first, tell me a little bit about yourself, just to get started.
So I am from Kerala. I did my schooling, education, everything in Kerala, and for graduation, I did my graduation in Andhra Pradesh. I did BTech, and it was in BTech that I found that I had something for managerial roles. I was secretary of a blockchain club there. So I really loved organizing events and all, managing people, taking classes. So I actually found it great when I had these skills along with the technical skills. I was able to merge them together to bring something fruitful. So and that's when I found out that there's an exam called CAT, and I came to know about this great people taking CAT classes, then coaching institutes and all. I found it is something huge. I didn't actually know about it first. And that's it. That's how I started my journey.
Right. That's great. And what do you do usually, in your free time, and what are some of your hobbies?
Just like everyone else, like watching movies, listening to music. I also like to sing. I sing Carnatic music. Then I do a little bit of drawing and painting, and I sometimes play badminton. I also love to travel.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And you mentioned something very interesting in your previous answer when I asked you about your background. You said that when you were doing your BTech, you then decided that you wanted to get into MBA and more managerial roles. So now tell me that how did that shift happen? Because normally one would expect that an engineer or someone who's doing BTech would continue in that same line. So what brought about that change in you?
Yes, sir. So I actually, like I said, I first of all got to be the secretary of blockchain club. Then I didn't know that I had such skills. But later on, I started organizing events. I used to also like do marketing about our club, like making posters, then trying to gather people, trying to attract people. Then again, even in my internships, we used to get similar roles, but I used to feel that somewhere I also had that ability to guide people. Whenever others used to get stuck, I used to help them, and I used to feel good taking that role, and that's when I decided that along with technical skills, I can also combine the managerial skills to excel in whatever I do.
Right. Fine. So, like you just mentioned, this is how you got to know about CAT. And but if I were to ask you, what was your main motivation behind writing this CAT? What would you say? Was it that you wanted to join a top management company, or was it some other reason behind writing this whole CAT entrance exam?
So first of all, the managerial role I felt comfortable with in all these clubs, internships and all. Then second thing is that CAT is like the gateway to premier institutions in India, and I felt it was I actually want guidance from top institutions if I were to target positions like CEO, CFO, CTO, and all. So that was the main reason or the main motive for me to attempt to write CAT.
Right, Vinayak, right. So, any of your family members who has attempted this examination in the past, or any of your friends who've written it in the past?
No, sir. No.
Okay. So Vinayak, now tell me that now that you know that this exam exists, there's this CAT exam that is the gateway to some of the premier institutions in the country. Now, of course, it's not an easy examination by any means. It has this very vast syllabus to it, right? So now, when you
Yes, sir.
got to know about the whole syllabus of the whole CAT exam, was it that you were a little intimidated by it, or were you looking forward to taking on the challenge?
No, sir. When I first got to know about it, I was like terrified. It was like I was doing something technical, and this sudden jump to something I never even thought of. I haven't even thought of subjects like LRDA and all. So I was a little worried in the beginning. I was not sure if I could make it. Like even scoring 90 percentile was a dream for me at the beginning. But I found out good teachers, good a huge peer group and all. So yeah.
Right, of course. Yeah. Ultimately, finding some good teachers is the key to cracking this examination.
It's a proper guidance and proper mentoring, I guess. It's the key for success to CAT.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Now, before we speak more about your preparation strategy, lastly, I'd just like to know a little bit about how that day was when you got to know your result. How was that feeling? Because of course, you must be having your family members around you who were standing by you and you were checking your results. So, how was that day like?
Yes, sir. So the day result came. Actually, I did not expect the result to come that day. I mean, from the day of New Year itself, everyone were like, "Result is coming today," and some of them were saying that they called IIM Ahmedabad to know the result. Some of them were saying it will be coming on 5th. Some of them on 7th. So I was not actually expecting the call to come, but somewhere there was this fear that sometime I cannot to see the result. But then, yes, at like around 5 o'clock, I saw messages flooding in my Telegram and WhatsApp groups that CAT results have come. I was actually so frightened. My legs was I was shivering, and yes, my family. I called everyone, and I opened my account, and I was totally surprised to see the result. I did not actually expect this much. So I was really happy after that. Still now, I can't contain the happiness.
That's great. That's wonderful to hear. Now let's get into your preparation schedule, right? So now that you got to know that there's this vast syllabus to CAT, right? So what was your first plan of action that you took? What was the first strategy that you had in mind before you started your preparation?
So, sir, actually, when I was in third year, it's when I got to actually know what CAT was. So I actually gave CAT last year, but it was with zero prep. I actually did not know the syllabus. It was just like before 1 week, I randomly saw some YouTube videos. I thought it will be fine. Like I would be able to score something. But when I took CAT, it was like totally different. I was not able to understand a single thing. VARC, LRDA, and all was completely new to me. The questions were like over my head, and quantitative aptitude, one or two questions I was able to understand. Everything else was like completely new to me. So I that's when I decided that I will have to do CAT if I want to make it into the IIMs. So yes, so I decided that from December onwards I will start preparation. But then again, I was in the last year. I had my capstone projects. Then I actually took 2 internships, so I was not able to start then. Then the internship got over by March, April. Then that was when I started little bit. I started seeing some YouTube videos. The YouTube videos which I actually saw before, I just to get back whatever I studied, and I came to know about Unacademy, especially from the research videos. I started with this YouTube channel. They were so great. I started with that. Then I bought Unacademy. Then again, my projects were not complete. So the final meeting and all was going on in my college. So I actually had to wait till June to start my preparation properly. And then I started watching live classes and recordings and all, sectionals, mocks, all those. That's how I actually started that.
Right. So if I would say officially you started your preparation in June. So that was about
Yes,
5 months prior to the CAT examination.
yes, sir, 5 months prior.
Right. And do you believe that is sufficient enough time for an aspirant to crack the particular exam?
Sure, sir. I mean, with proper strategy and proper analysis of whatever you do, I'm sure that anyone can crack it. Sir, I was really an average student. My English skills were so poor. I just could just can talk in English. My aptitude was nothing. And same when it comes to LRBI, I just could do a little bit of quant question because I was an engineering student. But apart from that, the thought process which was required for CAT, the kind of time management skills, the kind of strategy and all, I knew nothing about it. I was completely new.
Right. And it's so great to know that, someone who had very little or no idea about any particular subject finally ends up cracking, a percentile of 99.82. So kudos to you for that. Now you
Thank you,
just
sir.
mentioned about, your time management skills, right? Of course, a very important aspect of anyone's preparation. So under time management skills, I would say one thing that separates the great from the good is, your daily schedule, right? So it's very important to have like this timetable, right? And so tell me a little bit about how you, like you mentioned, started preparation in June. So right from June to November, what was the particular timetable that you followed?
Sir, so actually, when I started in June, before forming my time management, there were various distractions like Instagram, Facebook, anime, series, everything like every other student. So it used to be like when I will I think Bharat sir's class used to be at 9 o'clock. So I used to start watching that. Then some notification, something will come, and I will go into that. I will miss some part of his class, and I will think that I will watch that video later, and I will go back and do whatever I want. This continued like for 15 days, and when I tried to again watch Bharat Sir's videos, I came to know that how I was so lagging behind so much. He actually completed his one course, but I was like still in this third video or something. So that was when I understood why I should manage my time if I were to if I were to crack it. And also one thing was that most of my friends went for placements or GRA and all. So I also want to do something. Everyone were getting their colleges and all, so I was under that pressure also. So I somehow wanted to crack CAT. That was my aim throughout. So I started planning on how to schedule everything. I actually made a plan. So 9 a.m. I would start the day's class with Bharat sir, and it was for about 1.5 hours, I guess. Then after that, I would take a short break. Then after like 20-30 minutes of break, I would actually start reading. Reading was really essential for me. I knew nothing in VARC. I was so weak. I actually, before forming my time schedule, I even watched some videos from Unacademy. My English was so weak that I was sometimes not able to understand what the solution was. I mean, when the teacher used to explain, I was not able to even understand what to interpret from the explanation. So I started reading some novels and all, like Kite Runner by Khalid Hosseini and Alchemist and all. They were really good novels. It used to take me like 1 week to read one novel and all. I used to always keep the Google meaning open in order to read. So I understood that first of all, I should make reading a daily part of my life if I were to improve something little bit in years. So I scheduled reading after the break of like 30 minutes. Then I will read for like 1 hour, mainly the Eon essays. That was really helpful. Then again after that I would take a break. Then I had short, small internships going on. Like I took so that I since I knew that I'll be having so much of free time, I took small internships. So that would be going on for like 4 hours and all. And after evening again, I will start with my CAT preparation. So after evening, it was completely with Ravi sir. I used to start by watching his recorded videos. Actually, I think all the faculties usually start their course by January, February. So I had to watch those many videos. So I will start with Ravi's videos, and it will go for like 2 hours. I think each of his classes are like 1.5 2 hours. So after that, I would have my dinner. Then after that, it will depend on how I am feeling that day. If I feel exhausted, I won't be giving a sectional. Else, I will be giving a sectional, and if not a sectional, I will be watching some of the research videos.
Right. So, Vinayak, would you say that your entire preparation was done online?
Yes, sir. Entire preparation was online.
Okay. So, do you believe that there would have been a difference if you were going to a coaching center offline versus online? Do you think there's a big difference in that?
Sure, sir. Sir, I think for me personally, online is the best choice. There are many problems when going to an offline class. For example, even in my university, I used to face many issues like if you miss something, you cannot go back and see that. That was the best thing about online classes. Then other thing is that you can download the slides from which the faculty is teaching you. Then that also meant you did not need to keep separate notes. You can watch the classes whenever you want. You can form new timetable. You need not follow the timetable of the institution, and you can follow whatever is best for you.
Right. So you would definitely vouch for the online method of preparation.
Yes, sir.
All right.
100%.
Yeah, that's great.
The first step to crack CAT is to know your strength and weakness from an exam point of view. I will teach you how to identify your strengths and maximize your score in Quant and LRDI section. I have scored 100 percentile 5 times and have been teaching for 15 years. So I can tell you the right approach that is required to take your preparation to the next level. My name is Patrick D'Souza and I teach live on Unacademy Plus.
So now, Vinayak, apart from that, let's talk a little bit about mocks, right? Giving mocks is such an important part of this whole journey. So now tell me, how many mocks did you write for this particular examination? And at the same time, how important was it to analyze these mocks?
Sir, that was a small problem when it comes to mocks. I was only able to give around 10 to 15 mocks. But I used to I actually used to give so many sectionals that what the problem was that since I started in June, July, I was not able to complete the syllabus in like September when you should ideally start taking mocks. When I saw the videos of many faculties, they used to even say that you should start giving your mocks in June. So I was really worried that I was not able to give mocks. And the other thing is that I was really hesitant to give mocks. There is this weird feeling inside you when you want to give mocks, that there is this hesitancy when it comes to giving mocks. So I actually started giving my mocks in like last week of October, I guess. But I used to give so many sectionals in the beginning. I started my sectional somewhere around July itself, even after I completed a little bit of syllabus. So I actually made sure that I analyzed each and every sectional I gave. I used to form my strategy with the sectionals, the time management, whatever I did in CAT. Actually, I formed those from the sectionals, and even when I started giving the marks, I replicated the individual section-wise strategy that I formed, and I think that was very good. I actually think that forming a strategy, the strategy that suits you is very important when it comes to CAT. So it's okay if you don't give so many marks, but make sure that you have a proper planning, proper strategy. And another very important thing is that people say that we need to give like 40, 60 marks. I found many people in Telegram, Facebook, after the results came, they were like they gave 60 marks, 100 marks, still they were not able to crack CAT. So the main problem is that people just give marks for the sake of giving it. They just give it, they don't analyze it. They don't see what mistakes they did. They don't see about the time management. They don't follow strategy. They just give marks randomly, and I don't think you should do that. If you are doing something, you should be focused in it. You should do it properly when you are giving, because CAT is not something you should take like lightly. It actually tests everything like strategy, time management. It actually tests what a manager can do when he gets a tough situation.
Right, Vinayak, absolutely. So, we spoke about your challenges some time back. Now, there are also challenges when it comes to respective subjects, right? Like you mentioned, VARC was a challenge for you at the beginning and was a little difficult for you. But apart from that, even in the other sections, for example, data interpretation, logical reasoning, quants, did you face any particular challenge there, like a lot of, or any particular topic that was really difficult for you and how you overcame that? If you could share a little bit about that.
Yes, sir. Like VARC, DILR, I was not comfortable with when it came to LRDI also. LRDI actually required a completely different thought process. I mean, we have never been taught to think like that. So it was completely new to me, and whenever I sat for DLR classes, I used to be like worried so much. I used to be terrified. Like I was not able to even understand the questions. Even if I understand the questions, sometimes the solutions was so difficult or sometimes so complex for me to understand. But the key part is that for every question, when it comes to CAT, there is a specific thought process that you should get accustomed to. Take an example of Ravi sir. He in every whenever he does an LRDI question, he actually begins by explaining how you should think when you see a question like that. Like LRDI is one of those subjects, or is the one of those topics where people think that you get random questions, but I found that that's not true. Every question has a concept behind it, and it's very important that you should understand that concept. And even if you understand concept, sometimes you might not get the answer, or you might sometimes not understand the solution itself. So that requires a lot of practice. LRDA, I think it is one of those subjects with which no one is comfortable with. It actually requires a lot of practice. And when it comes to quants, I actually found so many formulas to remember. So what I used to do is that I used to actually learn how to derive the formula. So whenever I used to get a specific question from a concept, I used to derive the formula in my head. And as I went on doing problems, I got familiar with the formula, and I used to start remembering it instantly. And the other thing is that you should always keep revising the quant formula whenever you might be traveling, or even while taking a bath. You can actually utilize the time to revise your quant formula, or just remember whatever you have done in the class. So what I did to revise the quant formula was, I used to actually download the PDF notes that I used to get from the class, and I used to revise whenever I get free time, or free time in the sense when I'm actually traveling and I had nothing to do, or I was just walking, taking a stop or anything. And that was it when coming to quants. And talking about difficult concepts in quants, I actually found simple interest, compound interest a little tough, not because of the concepts, but it involved a lot of calculations. My calculations were not that strong when I started out. So it is really important that you work on your calculations, be it for quants or be it for LRDI. One of the tips would be to take some random prime number mostly, and try the multiplication table of the prime number, like take 23 or take some number like 59, and just run through the multiplication table in your head. So that will really help in improving calculation. I actually did it like continuously for a month, and I actually saw the results. I was able to crack the questions faster. And Yeah, when it comes to DI part, the data interpretation part, it is also very important that you know various kinds of charts, because whenever you see a mock by beat time or beat CL or beat IMS, you will always find complex charts in them. So what I did was I actually opened up Excel, Microsoft Excel, and I went to different kinds of charts in them, and that was one way to get familiar with those charts, so that you are not completely new to that chart when you find it in the box or sectionals. So yeah, then that's it. That was what I did mostly.
Right. So these were some of your challenges. Now let's speak about these subjects in depth. Now you just gave a little gist about what your challenges were with respect to these subjects, but now let's deep dive into these subjects individually. Let's talk about VARC, right? Because you mentioned that was one of your difficult subjects, but I believe that was also the section that you scored the most in your CAT percentile, right? Right. So now tell me, how did you go about preparing for VARC? Right? What were some of the sources you referred to when you were, studying VARC? And any tips that you would like to offer to aspirants, whose abilities, generally weak in this particular area. So if you could take us through that.
So when it comes to VARC, the most important and the primary solution is to read a lot. The thing is, we most of us don't have reading habits as such. I even don't have one right now, but I had to go through that pain of reading. So you can start with novels if you want, but gradually you should try to include a lot of different subjects when you read. If you take any random cat paper, you will be able to find that there will be 3 to 4 reading RC questions, and you will be able to find that all of these are from diverse areas. Like it may be from psychology, it may be from a historical passage, it may be a medical passage or scientific passage. So it is very important that you should be able to, you should be comfortable with these passages. So I would suggest you to start reading Aeon passages. So you can just search it in Google. It is, I think, one of the largest databases of essays, and it has authors from diverse areas, and subjects are also very diverse. Every day you will get like 2 to 3 new essays. You can start reading them, and then again, coming to political part, you should also start reading a little bit of newspapers, like just get to know what's happening, because sometimes when you have prior knowledge about something, you can crack RCs easily. That's it when it comes to RCs. Mainly reading is what you need to start for RCs. And once you start reading, and once you're comfortable with reading, once you start to comprehend whatever is written in the RC, you can start practicing the questions. Even coming into questions, I would not suggest anyone to attend all the questions in an RC. It is usually an ego problem with all of us. Like we tend to sit for like 20 minutes, 25 minutes with an RC and try to attempt all the questions. So that's not how it actually works. So you should also practice on skipping questions when it comes to RC, especially VARC, because sometimes the language is a little bit tricky to crack. Then especially coming to VA part, VA part is the trick. I felt it was the trickiest part in VARC. Then short summaries were fine. You can you can form a general idea of general. You can extract the general meaning, and then you can eliminate the options, and you can get the right one most of the times. But then coming to odd sentences out and parajumpers and all, you should really read a lot if you want to crack those. Then one of my approaches was to not understand what each sentences meant. So I used to try to logically connect the other sentences. And same with odd one out. Usually, many of them say that you can just, in odd one outs, you can just read the sentences and try to eliminate whichever you feel was not going with others. But I used to, even when it came to odd one out, first of all, I used to form the parajumble so that I can practice 2 things from that. First of all was elimination of the wrong sentence, and the second was forming parajumbles. So it is really important. Keep practicing for VARC, reading and practicing. It is the best thing for VARC.
Right, absolutely. Thanks for sharing such an in-depth strategy of yours. And yeah, right, like you rightly mentioned, reading is such a crucial part of VARC, right? Once you get that out of the way, that does half of the work for you. So Vinayak, we spoke about your VARC preparation. Now let's get into DILR. Talk to me a little bit about how this was for you and how you strategize this particular subject.
So when it comes to DILR, I always took like about 1 hour or 1.5 hours to solve one question. So it was really difficult challenge for me to reduce that time. I mean, I had to struggle a little bit with the thought process. As I mentioned earlier, we have to develop that specific kind of thought process when it comes to DILR. So I had to practice a lot. I mean, I used to usually practice DILR from 6 to 8 every day. Then I used to have dinner after that again. After that, sometimes I used to either usually do DILR or I used to give sectionals. And one more thing people can do is start solving like puzzles like Sudoku and all. There are so many kinds of puzzles. Even Ravi sir makes us do some puzzles to get to develop the thought process. So I actually even downloaded 2-3 apps where I can do Sudoku, then word puzzles and all. So I think that also has helped me. And we should there are different types of LRDI questions. So the concepts you should get to know about. Whenever you start solving a DLR question, it is very easy to solve the DLR question if you know the concept. So it's really important that you cover a wide range of DLR concepts, just like RCs where you have to cover a wide range of topics. Here also you have to cover a wide range, like you have mathematical puzzles, numerical puzzles, then you have circular, different kinds of arrangements. Even in arrangements, you have circular arrangements, triangular. So all those kinds you should have an idea about. Even although you don't solve, you should just know about it a little bit. Then I actually followed the research DLR course. So it was a huge course. Like I think there are like 800 sets. I mean, including the sectionals in Unacademy, I think there are a total of 800 sets you can solve for when it comes to CAT. I was not able to finish everything, but what I used to do was I used to actually maintain an Excel sheet. In that Excel sheet, I used to write down the topics and the concept, name of the concept. Like I used to like if it was for game and tournaments. For example, I will say it with an example. In CAT 2021, in my slot there was a question. It was related to finding number of friends and all. It was like a graph problem. When you first look at it, it is like a graph kind of question. But then later, when you analyze the question properly, you will be able to find that you can easily solve the question using game and tournaments concepts. So I used to write down different concepts that I used to find in an Excel sheet, and I also used to mark it as difficult, easy, or medium. If it is easy, those questions I don't used to care a lot about. I mean, those are the questions I used to get an idea whenever I see it, or the first time I used to crack those questions. Medium are those questions which I was not able to solve, but after seeing the solution, I was able to do the question. Difficult are those which I did not even understand after seeing the solutions. So I used to revise those questions whenever I get time, the medium questions. And difficult questions, I actually started attempting those questions after October. So from June till October, I practiced a lot of LRDIs, and difficult questions I took up after October. So I actually saw the improvement. I was able to solve many questions, the difficult questions. So I think that maintaining a record of questions when it comes to LRDI is important.
Right. So if I were to summarize, basically based on whatever you said, it was the fundamentals and the concepts have to be in place first, right? Because that is what is the key if you want to solve this particular section. Let's now move to quants, right? Now talk to me a little bit about quants, because for you, probably you would have felt you had a slight advantage because of your engineering background. But do you believe quants was that easy for you, or did you find some challenges in quants as well?
Sir, when it comes to quants, it is huge. Quants has a huge syllabus, so it was not easy for me. I mean, some of the topics some of the topics in algebra, then modern maths like permutation, probability, I found them easier to do because I had an engineering background. But when it comes to arithmetic and all, I struggled to do them initially. Actually, you have to practice a lot of questions when it comes to quants, and even you can, like, I used to do analysis whenever I solved each question. I used to like think about the calculation, recall time of each concept. For example, there is if you take arithmetic, uh, you will be able to find lots of questions in them. It is really important to know which concept that question comes in order to solve them first. So you should really focus on getting familiar with the concept. So after solving a question, if you find that you take a lot of time, you can just go back and revise a little bit. That's what I found the PDFs really helpful. For example, if I take arithmetic, if I were to keep notes, I will be writing everything in arithmetic in a note. So if I have to find a particular concept, I will have to go through like the entire book. I will be wasting a lot of time. So when I kept the PDFs, I can just go to that concept and get it done like in 5 to 10 minutes. So I think that way, first of all, you can improve your recall time, and second thing is you will be revising the concept so many times, and you will start to remember all the formulas and all. And one more thing is that when it comes to quants, I practiced questions without pen and paper. As I said about the recall concept, recalling the concept, it really helped me to recall the concept when I started solving the questions without pen and paper. I used to take like 5 to 10 minutes when it comes to that, but it actually helped me. So after I practice this, whenever I start reading a question, if it is an easy question, half of the calculation is already done by the time I finish reading it. So that is really helpful, and you can like crack easy questions in under like 1 minute. And it is really important that you practice proper management in quants through sectionals or mock tests. So what I used to do was, whenever I start quants, I used to search for easy questions. If I find an easy question, I will do it then and there. Then if I find medium questions, I used to mark them for medium questions are those from which I could recall the concept, and if I found that question familiar or I did before but I cannot like crack the question in like 5 minutes, I used to do that. I used to mark it for it. Then other questions which were like very big or it contained, if I felt that the question had complex calculations, I just used to leave them without marking. So first I will finish the easy questions. Easy questions will take you around 1 to 2 minutes to solve. And then I used to come to medium questions. Medium questions, again, sometimes it could turn out to be an easy questions, but you marked it because the question was huge. And the time to solve easy questions is around 2 to 3 minutes. So that was my strategy for once. And never take your chances with any difficult question because you might end up giving the wrong answer. And you can attempt difficult questions after you solve all the easy and medium questions, and only if the difficult question is a theta type. Else, I would suggest to leave that. So that was my strategy for once.
Right, great, Vinayak. So we discussed your individual strategy for all these particular subjects, be it VARC, DILR, as well as quants. Now talking about the time frame when it comes to the exam. Now let's say I'm going to divide this question into 3 parts. So I'd like you to answer each part individually. Now let's say the CAT exam is a month away, right? Now it's October time and the CAT exam is in November. Where should you be in terms of your preparation, and how much should you be studying at this point when you're 1 month away? So that is my first part. Secondly, when you're 1 week away from the exam, And lastly, when it's one day prior to the exam. So if you could just tell us about that.
So when it comes to the way I prepared, I did not complete the syllabus like in November and all. I found many people saying that they completed syllabus in October now, mid-October and all. But it's okay if you cannot complete the syllabus. Focus on whatever concepts that you have learned. For example, I was not able to focus much on SICI because I found it a little difficult at the starting. I said the calculations a lot. So I did not focus on it much. I went with the other parts. I used to give sectionals and all, and before 1 month, you could say that VARC did not have a syllabus as such. So I used to continue just read the current affairs or Eon essays, Guardian. I used to read all those. Then when it comes to LRDA, I used to just give sectionals. And some faculties used to conduct the practice sessions, so you can also go through that. If you find some interesting questions, you can solve them. Otherwise, just leave it and just revise quant concepts. When it comes to the amount of time you should spend, I will say that you should at least spend 1 hour for reading every day, even if it is like in the month of November. Then LRDA, I would suggest 1 to 2 hours, and Quants also you can spend like 1 hour. If you are done with the syllabus, else you have to spend like 2 to 3 hours a day. I had to spend 2 to 3 hours a day for Quants. Then for giving sectionals, I used to give like 2 to 3 sectionals a day. I mean for VRC, LRDA, and Quants. Then coming into November. In November, I was like terrified. I was again left with a lot of syllabus to complete. Even though I completed some syllabus, I was not able to revise some properly. So I used to spend like 7 hours a day, 7 to 8 hours a day in the month of November. And I used to give so many sectionals, literally. I don't know. I would have given like all the sectionals in Unacademy probably. And when it comes to LRDA and Quants, VRC, I felt comfortable when I got into November, especially with RCs and the para summary and odd one out. I did not focus much because I did not have that much time. Now in 1 month, I cannot prepare a full-fledged. I cannot see a full-fledged course on para jumpers and all. So I actually went with the logical approach to solve para jumpers and odd one outs. As I mentioned earlier, like connecting the sentences logically without trying to connect them with grammar or with like other reading skills that people are having. So yes, I also used to give mocks alternatively because I didn't give any mocks prior to that, like in October and all. I did not give any mocks, so it was like 10 to 12 mocks. I gave AIMT from Unacademy and it was really good. I found, especially the LRDA part, I found many questions with good concepts in them, and they were tricky. I think that helped me a lot to polish my thought process. And 1 week before CAT, you should chill a little bit. Don't overstress yourself. You should get all the documents ready like at least 2 days before the exam. And wear comfortable clothes. After when you are writing the exam, you should not be worried like you have not dressed properly, this and that. You should be completely focused on giving CAT. Then do not over stress yourself the day before, as you can literally chill that day. And don't keep away from all the negativity. You will be finding people who say that they haven't completed, they have been scoring low marks, they won't be able to crack CAT. I found so many people saying that they will be giving CAT 2022, especially the day before CAT. Like there were a lot of messages, so I actually switched off Telegram. Just keep away from such people and be confident. Those are the important points that you should take care of. And just believe in the strategy you make, the time management and everything. Be prepared with the pen, all of those things, and that's it.
Right, right, absolutely. And what about that night prior to the examination? What should your mindset be at that point of time?
So yeah, so the day before, you should spend time with your family, chill a little bit, and keep away from negativity. Then be confident. Don't think about what will happen if you don't crack CAT. There are many alternatives like that, OMEX, or even if you don't crack anything, again you have the next CAT coming up next year. So everything will be fine. So I thought like this, and uh, you should also sleep well. Take care of that because you should not be feeling sleepy. You should be focused when you are giving CAT, and be confident even when you are giving CAT. Uh, don't panic if you are not able to solve some questions. It will be all right.
Right, absolutely. All right, Vinayak, those were some great answers there to those FAQs by aspirants. Now, we have discussed all the serious stuff. We've spoken a little bit about your preparation. We've spoken about your daily schedule. We've answered some questions by the aspirants. Now, let's move to a fun segment here on CTwT, which we call the rapid fire round. So, I'm going to ask you a few questions and you're going to have to give me a few quick answers. All right?
Thank you.
Right. All right, Vinayak. So, your first question is, if you were the Prime Minister of this country, if you were elected to be the Prime Minister of this country just for a day, what would that one change be that you would like to bring in our country?
I would actually like to increase the number of holidays. I mean the monthly. I mean not monthly, the weekly number of holidays. Yeah, from 5 to 4 or something.
Great answer. Okay, let's move to the next question. Who is that one leader or a celebrity or personality that you consider to be an inspiration?
Ratan Tata.
Okay, and why is that?
I mean, he makes great business decisions and he makes logical decisions. He does not make any random decisions, and he also sees that he also helps the poor. You know, I mean, it's an ideal business environment that he also creates. So that's why I draw my inspiration from him.
Great. Your next question is, what is that one thing that you are yet to tick off from your bucket list? Something that you really want to do?
But I want to travel. I want to travel like to the Himalayas. I want to do skydiving, then scuba diving, ice skating. So that's one of the things. I'm really looking forward to do that once I finish my admissions.
Yes, great. And hopefully you will do it soon. Your fourth question is, if you had a superpower for a day, just for one day, if you could become a superhero, what is that one power that you would like to have?
I would like to see what others are thinking about me. What people are thinking about me. Mind reading.
Okay, great. So your last question is, what is that one movie that you can watch again and again, and why?
I think that's Harry Potter. The entire series I can watch again and again. It is fun and it has a great storyline. It also has great characters and it's entertaining. I think that's an all-rounder movie.
Right, Vinayak, those were some great answers right there. Now, talking about your future plans, right? Of course, now you've cleared the CAT with this outstanding percentile of 99.82. What are some of your dream colleges that you're looking to get placed at?
So I am looking at Plakis, IAM, ABC, then Code Indo, and I am looking at FMS and MDL.
That's awesome, Vinayak, and we wish you all the very best and hope that you get placed in a college of your choice eventually. Now, on CTwT, we have this segment called Tag a Topper, right? We have this ritual wherein if you know anybody that you think can come on the show and share their journey with us as well, you can let us know about them and we will bring them on our show in the next episode. So, Vinayak, is there anyone like that?
So, I would like to recommend Harsh Agarwal. I think he's from Unacademy. I found his post in Facebook and he has scored really well in CAT.
So Harsha, our team will reach out to you soon for our next episode of CTwT and hope to see you share your side of the story as well soon. So now, Vinayak, my last question to you on this show, it's been a fantastic show. What I'd like to know from you is that, there are a lot of aspirants out there who are going to attempt this examination in the near future. So now that you've given this exam, you've had this experience of going through what CAT is all about. I'd like you to share one last motivational message for all those aspirants.
So every decision that you make can go in both the direction. Can be good or it can be bad. So it is actually in your hands to you can steer the boat whichever way you want to go. So never think that any decision you have made in your life is wrong. You always have alternatives. So I hope you crack it and all the best.
Right, that's some great advice there, Vinayak, and it was really great talking to you. So, Vinayak, talk to me about how your experience has been on CTwT. How did you feel coming on this show and sharing your thoughts with everybody?
It was great. I was able to go. I got a nostalgia of the entire journey of CAT, and it was really great meeting with all you people. And I think I was able to help someone out there who was looking for some advice or some tips on how to crack it. I would like to thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you for coming here on CTwT and sharing your valuable advice with all our aspirants out there. And we wish you all the very best for your career going forward.
Thank you so much.
So that was Vinayak Prabhu, who joined us here on CTwT and shared his journey on how he was able to clear the CAT. We are really looking forward to seeing many aspirants coming up in the near future and clearing the exam as well, and wish you all the very best in your preparation. We will be back with another episode of CTwT soon. Until then, take care of yourselves and stay safe.